Alrighty, so today we're going to be looking at traveling with an itinerary, and we're going to be looking at how we can actually deal with these sorts of things. So Nishi is flying from Brisbane to London via Auckland and Los Angeles, with the tailwind making shorter flight times and stopovers at the airports giving her a chance to stretch her legs. Her itinerary is as follows. Depart Brisbane at 11:15 a.m. on the 21st of January, arrive in Auckland at 5:25 p.m. Then on the 21st, then depart Auckland at 10:50 p.m. on the 21st. Arrive in Los Angeles at 1:55 p.m. on the 21st. Depart Los Angeles at 4:10 p.m. on the 21st. And then arrive in London at 10:40 a.m. 22nd of January. Determine the time in Brisbane when Nishi arrives in London. Alrighty. So, first thing we need to know is all of the unit conversions, okay? So, for Brisbane, we're using UTC plus 10. For Auckland, it's going to be UTC plus 11. For London, it is UTC plus 0. And for LA, it is UTC minus 8, okay? But for part A, we don't need to do much. We just need to work out the departure time, the arrival time in London, but we want it in Brisbane time, so we want it in UTC plus 10. Well, it's currently in UTC plus 0, and in fact the information is 22 of the 1st, so we're going to use the date there, and it's 10:40 a.m. in London, which is UTC 0. Alrighty, so we want to convert it to Brisbane time, so that's plus 10 hours. Plus 10 hours is a lot like plusing 12 hours and then subtracting 2. Either way, you're going to end up with 8:40 p.m. still in London and still on the same day. Alrighty. So we have converted from there to there. So the time in Brisbane will be 8:40 p.m. on the 22nd of January. That's when she arrives. So calculate the total flying time in hours and minutes. Alrighty. Well, we now know that she left at, she departed Brisbane on the 21st of the 1st at 11:15. She left Brisbane, which is UTC plus 10, and then she arrived a day later at 8:40 p.m. Alrighty, so how long was she gone for? So this is for B. Well, we need to work out how long it has been. So time difference. Well, we're trying to work out how many hours is it taken to get from here to here. So there's a few ways we can work this out. The easiest is to go from, well, if you're departing at 15 minutes and you're arriving at 40 minutes, well, it's been 25 minutes. The harder question is how many hours has it been? Alrighty, I find the easiest way to just count. But we can do a few cheats. So 11 a.m. to get to 11 p.m. to get to 11 a.m. the next day, well, that's 24 hours, so it's at least 24 hours. That takes us to 11:15 a.m. on the 22nd, but it's more than that. We've got to go a few extra hours, so it's going to be 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's another 9 hours, which adds up to 35 hours and 25 minutes. But that wasn't all flying time. That was just the total time it took. She had several waits. So we need to work out each of the wait times as well. So let's do the first waiting time. So she flies to Auckland, and the wait time in Auckland, well, she gets off the plane at 5:25, and then she gets back on a plane at 10:50. So 10:50 minus 5:25. So the time difference here, well, 25 minutes and 5 hours. Alrighty, let's do the next one. She then also has wait time in Los Angeles. So let's work out that. So for the Los Angeles, well, she gets off at, so yeah, she leaves at 4:10, but she gets off at 1:55. So 4:10 minus 1:55. Alrighty, we can't take 55 off 4:10, so we make it 3:70. 55 off 70 is 15. 1 off 3 is 2. So it's 2 hours and 15 minutes. So that's all of her waiting time. And so then the actual flying time, well, that's just the difference between the total time difference minus all of those waiting times, because that's the time she was actually in the air. So 35, 25 minus 5, 25 minus 2, 15. 5 off 30 is going to be 30. 25 off 25 is 0, 0. Minus 2, 15. 15 off 30 hours is going to be 29 hours and 45 minutes. Subtract the 2 hours, 27 hours and 45 minutes. So 27 hours and 45 minutes is how long she was flying for. And the last question asks us to determine the individual flight times. So remember, we've got several flight times that are actually happening. We've got Brisbane to Auckland, Auckland to LA, LA to London. So there's 3 flights in total, so we've got to work out each of them. So for part C, let's work out how long was the flight from BNE to Auckland. Alrighty. It doesn't matter which, but the problem is that each of these are in different time zones, right? This is in Brisbane time, whereas the arrival time, this, is in Auckland time. So we need to convert them to being in the same units. So we leave Brisbane at 11:15 a.m. and we arrive at 5:25 p.m. Alrighty, but the problem is that the leaving time is in BNE time, which is UTC plus 10, whereas the arrival time is in UTC plus 11. To work out the flight time, it doesn't matter which I convert, but I need to convert either the Auckland time into Brisbane time, or I need to do the reverse. It's a choice. I'm going to go with Auckland time into Brisbane time. So to do that is subtract 1 hour. This leaves us with 4:25 p.m. So the flight time is going to be 4 hours and 25 minutes. Subtract 11:15. This is p.m. This is a.m. This is where 24-hour time is really useful, because rather than 14, we can write this as 16. Much easier to calculate. 15 off 25 is 10. 11 off 16 is 5. And so it's going to be 5 hours and 10 minutes. So that's the first flight. Now the next flight she did was she went from Brisbane to Auckland, then she went from Auckland to LA. And this is same problem. So this is Auckland to LA. Same problem. The departure time is in Auckland, 10:50 p.m., but the arrival time is in the wrong units. It's in LA time, which is 1:55 a.m. Oh no, 1:55 p.m. Right? This is in UTC plus 11, because that's Auckland time, and this is UTC minus 8. So the conversion is going to be 19 and plus or minus depending on which way we're going. So this time I'm going to convert from Auckland time into LA time. And the way to do that is going to be to, well, minus 8 minus 11 is minus 19. So we're going to subtract 19 hours. We're going to subtract 19 hours over here. Problem, we're going to run in, oh no, we're not going to run into any day issues. I believe these are both on the same day. They're both on the 21st. Yep, this is on the 21st. This is also on the 21st. So these are both on the same day currently, and hopefully that won't change. So minus 19 hours. Well, that's a lot like minusing 12 hours, so that would take us to 10:50 a.m., but then also subtracting another 7 hours. So that's going to take us down to 3:50 a.m. to 1:55 p.m. Once again, 24-hour time is going to make this time, flight time, a lot easier. Well, it's 1:55 p.m. minus 3:50 a.m. Well, let's write 1:55 p.m. in 24-hour time, so it's going to be 0:30 at 12, so it's going to be 13:55 minus 3:50. 50 is going to be leaving with 5 minutes, and 3 hours off gives us 10 hours and 5 minutes. Alrighty, one more flight to work out, which is the last flight. We're in LA and we need to go to London. So, last flight, LA to London. Alrighty, so LA time, it departs at 4:10 and it arrives at 10:40. Is it AM or PM? Yes, it's AM. But remember, these are on different days. So this is on the 21st, and this is on the 22nd of the 1st. So days really matter. And once again, they're in different units. This is in UTC minus 8, and this one is in UTC plus 0. How do we get from minus 8 to 0, or from either direction? I'm going to convert to London time. I think it's going to be a little bit easier. So it's going to be plus 8 hours. Where is that coming from? 0 minus minus 8 is 8. So it's plus 8 to get from here to here. So plusing 8 hours, well, that leaves us with 12:10. Well, we've hit a 12, so that means it's now going to be AM, and now it is on the 1st as well, on the 22nd, because we've now gone ahead a day. Alrighty, so now we just need to do our time difference, and once again, the flight time, much easier to do in 24-hour time. So, 11:40 a.m. minus 12:10 a.m. Well, much easier to do if I do it as 11:40 minus 00:10, because that's what midnight is in 24-hour time. So it's just subtract 10 minutes, so we get 11 hours and 30 minutes. And there we are. Those are the 3 flight times plus the total flying time plus the time changes. So itinerary questions can be quite tricky, a lot to them, but that finishes up our Earth geometry and time zones. See you in the next one. Goodbye.